Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Cards, and wanted to share a few things. Some of the Eddie Mathews cards that I received when I got home from eBay, and one from Facebook, and then also I want to talk about something I picked up at the National. Eddie Mathews. It was called a Preferred Portrait, and found some interesting information on that. So let me turn the camera around and talking about this. You can see this right here. It's a Preferred Portrait. It's a 1954 issue. Preferred was evidently a clothing store in the Milwaukee area. They sold primarily clothes, and they were called Preferred. So, anyways, these were an issue in 1954 called Preferred Portraits, and the paper's kind of thick, like almost the thickness of like construction paper, and uh, and you can see there's just a little bit of discoloration up in the corner there on that. But yeah, this Preferred Portrait, there was 12 players that were signed in 1954, and Warren Spahn and Eddie Mathews, of course, were the big names. And then you had Joe Adcock, Bob Buell, Lou Burdett, Del Crandall, Ernie Johnson, Dave Jolly, Johnny Logan, Chet Nichols, and Andy Pafko. But what was interesting is that they had signed a contract, and later on, of course, the Braves players appeared on many other issues, to include the Spick and Span issues, which we see quite a few of those. The Johnston Cookies, which were a very popular issue in the Milwaukee area, as well as Tops. And evidently, Preferred Products, they went and they sued 10 of the players for $68,000, contending that the players had violated an agreement giving them the exclusive rights to their pictures and autograph pictures. And so that was quite interesting. It actually went to court, and in June of 1955, they were seeking $10,000 damage from Warren Spahn and Eddie Mathews, each because of their popularity, and $6,000 for all of the other players. Evidently, the court the case crawled through the court. It took quite a while, and some of the players like Jolly, Johnson, Nichols, they were eventually dropped from the lawsuit. And it was quite interesting that this case crawled through the court system, and they fought it tooth and nail. And Eddie Mathews had testified in court. We knew we had outstanding contracts, and they couldn't give us exclusive rights. And evidently, it went all the way into the circuit court in 1957. The cases was thrown out, and Preferred Products, they were going to appeal to the Supreme Court. And according to this article I'm reading, there was never any paperwork found to determine if they actually did pursue any further legal actions, because there were no more cases. And but this Preferred Product, they did have a few sets, and these Preferred Portraits were among them. So pretty interesting to see that these Preferred Portrait, this issue right here, caused so much strife for the company, and they actually went to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and the players had to come in and testify, and so on and so forth. So really happy to add this piece to the Eddie Mathews collection. I want to thank Dave, Legends of the Dugout. He's the one that saw it in the case at the National, and he was actually the one that kind of negotiated and bargained with the dealer. And the guy was very nice, and the dealer said that he had these in a group of things he had bought, and he'd said that there were some other postcards that he'd already sold that were in there. So it seemed to be he must have bought the lot from somebody who was a Milwaukee Braves or had a lot of Milwaukee Braves items. So just real happy to add this 1954 Preferred Portrait Eddie Mathews, and to know the backstory on it even makes it just a little bit more interesting for me. And here's something interesting that I picked up on the on an eBay auction. This was a 1953 game card for the Stratomatic game, and you can see it's got Eddie Mathews up top there, and it shows his batting record for the 1953 season on the bottom. It's a two-sided card, and then it's got his lifetime numbers on the bottom. And you can see it's pretty interesting because it already shows his total numbers of, he'd already retired by this time. So you've got, this is a 1953 game, but they also reissued it, I think, in 1970. So this is a 1970 reissue because it's a two-sided card showing his 53 stats and then of course, his career-ending stats. So I was real happy to pick this this game card up here. Again, it's 1953 was the original game, the Stratomatic, and I think it was reissued again in 1970. So just an interesting piece to add to the Eddie Mathews collection. And here's a couple of really neat things here. This is a game-used bat from the 2024 Leaf Lumber set, and 2 swaths, 2 patches, two evidently pieces of chips of the bat, I should say. And this is numbered 13 out of 15, and just a really neat card. It's a purple. There were different colors, I guess, to designate different rarity. And on the back, this is kind of cool. It's got a nice full-length jersey, 512 home runs. And so real happy to add that to the Mathews collection. 2024 also, Leaf, they did this game-used lumber. And so this is numbered 3 out of 4. And again, with a chip from an Eddie Mathews bat. And just kind of happy to add these together into the collection. That's the one nice thing about having Mathews, being a Mathews collector, with him having 500 home runs. There's always going to be a lot of later issues that commemorate the members of the 500 home run club. So real happy to add that to it. And this one here is a 2003, I believe, 2003 Fleer Tradition milestone, and 500 home run club. These were not very tough to find in a pack. I saw the insert ratio was about 1 in 5. But again, just a nice addition to the Mathews collection, and just a good commemoration of his 512 home runs. And he held the record for most homers by a third baseman until Mike Schmidt came along. And then I picked this up here also. This is a nice 2002 Fleer Triple Crown Home Run Kings, and with Eddie Mathews. And this is a nice PSA 9. And it's got a nice backing here that talks about Eddie Mathews and his home runs, and kind of his career stats on the back of it, and just some of his notoriety. So real happy to add those to the Eddie Mathews collection. And again, I'm just really still happy with this original Heartland Trophy. I picked this up probably a month or so ago, but just a really cool piece. Just really happy to have that in the Mathews collection. But just wanted to share these with you before I put them away. And I'll be coming back at you probably later on this week with some more of my pickups from the National. Had a great time. Again, just kind of getting my feet under me here the last couple of days. So much to catch up on. And anyways, everybody, just have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.